This one is called I Photoshop Every Photo of My Mum. My mum has really had a hard time the past few years. When she entered menopause, she gained weight, and no matter how much she works out or what diet she tries, she cannot drop it. She is a wonderful person, beautiful inside and out, but I could tell it was really taking a toll on her. So I started lightly photoshopping pictures I take of her before I send them to anyone or print them. I just nip a little here and there, slight reshaping, and smoothing out a few wrinkles. Nothing drastic, but enough. Since I have started this, she has started acting more confidently and has stopped making negative remarks about pictures that she's in. She loves being in pictures with everyone again. It's really helped. I have not told anyone and I never will. Am I crazy for thinking that I'm doing a great thing for her?
Here is the story time of why and how I decided to move to California at 18 years old and why it went very bad. So a little backstory about me is that I have been trained in comedy writing and performance and acting since I was like 16 years old. So like this looks funny on my face. That's like the goal, the dream of life, right? So when I was 18 years old, I had a trip to California. This trip was a month before I was supposed to start college, so keep that in mind. I had fallen in love with California on this trip, and I was like, this is where I need to be. Then, on my Uber to the airport, my Uber driver was like, what do you do? And I was like, well, I do comedy writing and performance. I'm going to school for that, and I've been trained since I was 16 in that. And he was like, why the fuck aren't you on stage? And I was like, you don't need school for that. You need to be in LA on stage, like getting out there, going to different comedy clubs. That's what you need to do if you want to be successful in this field. And I was like, he is so fucking right. I was like, oh my God, he lit a fire under my ass. So I went home and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I'm moving to California. She was like, okay, literally, no, you're not. We just paid for your first semester of college and you're gonna do that. And I was like, no, but I really wanna go to California. She's like, fine, if you wanna move to California, save your money and move yourself to California. One of my toxic traits is if I want something, I'm gonna fucking get it. Like I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to get it. So I was like, perfectly fine, I'm gonna do that. My mom made it very clear that she was not helping me financially because she just like couldn't. She just wasn't in a financial place to be able to do that. So I was like, I'm gonna do it by myself. My first year of college, I worked 2 jobs. I was like nannying at 5 a.m. before my classes and then working at a pizza shop like after, and I saved $7,000, which is not a lot when you think about moving to LA, but I was like, I'm fucking rich. So first semester's done and my mom is like, listen, are you moving to California or what? Because I really don't want to pay this next semester of college if you won't stop like talking about California. Because like I really wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. I'd be like, I'm moving to Cali. And I was like, yeah, I saved enough money. I'm going to go to California and I'm going to work my ass off and be the famous, iconic Livy that I know I can be in California. So I booked my ticket and I was off to California. Mind you, I did have my best friend living out there at the time and I was just supposed to go for like a couple of days, okay? I was just supposed to go on a little trip and that was all. But I ended up getting a job while I was out there. Literally just like I was a barista at a juice bar. Don't even get me started. I've never been a barista in my entire life, but I was like, I could do whatever I want. So I canceled my flight home and I was just gonna stay with my best friend until I got an apartment. Go to part 2. It's where it gets really interesting. So I was in California for like about a month now. What the fuck? So sorry, I did not mean to act like that. So I'm in California about a month at this point and I'm still staying with my best friend and it's like, okay, I've overstayed my welcome. So I find this cute little apartment and it's $1,100 a month and I'd be living alone in a studio. So I signed that year lease, which $1,100 is an extremely cheap price for California. But I wasn't living a good neighborhood. I could barely even afford the $1,100 a month. Like I was financially supporting myself at 18 years old on a juice bar salary. So I didn't live in a good neighborhood whatsoever. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna ignore my crazy neighbors. Which like the guy next to me literally was absolutely terrifying. He would always leave his door open, smoke cigarettes, like literally 3 packs a day. And then he had like mannequins all over his apartment. But I was really dedicated to make this work because I was like, I have a goal, I have a dream, like I'm going to accomplish this. I need to be in California. I had absolutely no plan. I had no plan whatsoever, comedy-wise or anything else like that. I was just like, I need to be here. I need to be in California. So things really started to go downhill. Number one, I lost my job at the juice bar because they thought I was stealing. I was like, what the fuck am I gonna steal? Almonds from you guys? You literally have nothing for me to steal there. But also, like, I hated working at the juice bar, so I was kind of okay with that. I was like, thank God, like, get me out of the juice bar. But I remember that $7,000 I had saved up, it was all gone. Literally all of it gone. I didn't realize how quick like money left my pocket, I guess. So I called my mom and being like, hey, so I'm literally poor. She's like, well, I have absolutely nothing to give you, so you're gonna have to figure that out. So I did what any 18-year-old would do. I went to the strip club. I said, I'm gonna fucking figure it out, Mom. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. Not to be a stripper, but to be a waitress. I just lied to them and I was like, yeah, no, I used to be a server in a strip club before, and like, yeah, I love it. I'd never done that in my life. They hired me on the spot and they're like, show up tomorrow, black Spanx and a black bra. I'm like, fuck, like, I hate men. This is gonna be the worst job ever, but I'm gonna make it work. I show up the next day at the strip club and I'm like, hi, like, I'm here for my first day. Elizabeth hired me. And they're like, who's Elizabeth? I'm like, the bitch that hired me. And they're like, nobody named Elizabeth works here. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who hired me? Like, I was hired, but I don't know who by who. So I lose the job at the strip club, which was probably a blessing, honestly. So my mental health started getting really, really bad. Like, I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I was so anxious I couldn't really do anything. See, I don't like making multiple parts like this because you guys literally come for me and you're like, why the fuck are you making so many parts? But like, whatever, let me tell my story and just enjoy it, okay? So at this point in California, my mental health is horrible. Like, anxiety, not sleeping, not eating, and I couldn't sleep because I was absolutely terrified of my neighbors. Like, I didn't live in a safe neighborhood whatsoever, but it was all that I could afford. Then I have absolutely no money, so I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And the last thing I ever wanted to do was move back to Chicago. Like, I was like, I'd rather die. The reason I say that is because I just wanted California to work out so badly. And like, I just didn't want to feel like I gave up. But my mental health was so horrible that like, I had to move home. Like, it was either I move home or I'm not gonna do well. I moved home, but I was like extremely hard on myself after I moved home. I just honestly, if I'm being so honest, I just felt like a failure and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Also, I was like 18 years old. I had no idea anything about the real world and it was like my first time paying bills, but like I moved home and that next like 6 months was like one of the most difficult 6 months of my entire life. I was in the psych ward twice before that difficult 6 months, so that's really saying something. But yeah, I was just really disappointed in myself and I just felt like I had gave up, but it was either like I move home or I'm gonna like deteriorate mentally and like be back in that fucking psych ward. Looking back 4 to 5 years later, I currently live in New York, which like absolutely love it here. Wow, my hair looks absolutely terrifying. But looking back, I don't regret that whatsoever because it taught me so much. And also it just showed like whenever I have a goal or a dream, like I'm gonna do it. I don't give a fuck what it takes. I'm going to accomplish that no matter what. I don't care. If someone tells me I can't do it, I'm gonna do it regardless. That's terrifying. So no part of me regrets that. And my sisters love to make fun of me for it. They're like, remember when you moved to California? It's like, remember when you got a degree and you hate your job currently, but like I'm living my best life and I love myself? Like, remember that? Moral of the story, if you have a goal or a dream, go for it. Regardless of what anyone's saying, go for it. It might not end the way that you wanted it to end, but eventually everything will work out. That's my little California story time.
Am I wrong for purposefully breaking my girlfriend's high heels prior to my friend's wedding? My friend had his weekend last wedding and I was a groomsman while my girlfriend was in the bridal party. My friend is a man who is 5'6", so needless to say he has issues regarding his height. The rest of us groomsmen range from 5'7" to 6'2", so we are as tall, if not taller than him. He has less of an issue with this, but he did have issues with the height of the bridal party. My girlfriend is a taller gal at 5'8", and the rest of them are between his and her height. I'm 5'8" too, sissy. During his wedding, he decided he wanted to look a bit taller, so he brought shoe and soles that made him 2 inches taller. This was partially driven by the desire to not be shorter than any woman up in front. He also wanted for none of the bridesmaids to be in heels. He wanted them all in flats and that would keep them all shorter than him. His wife didn't necessarily agree with this, so she didn't make it a requirement in their outfits to wear flats. So he tasked the groomsmen with talking to the ladies and getting them to wear flats. All of them agreed except my girlfriend. She said she picked out heels to wear just for this day and she was going to wear them. I tried to point out that there will be other chances, but this guy only has one wedding and the nice thing to do is to just appease him. She said that she listens to the bride and the bride says she can wear heels, so she will. I tried my best to convince her to just wear some flats, but she wouldn't listen. Eventually, it got too close to the day, and while my girlfriend was practicing and one of the heels mysteriously broke, it was too close to the day to get an exact replacement, so she was stuck in flats. So, you may have guessed it, it was me. And I know it was fucked up, but I'll pay to replace it for her. She didn't find out until I told her after the wedding, and she of course was not happy. She said I was policing her outfit for my insecure friend and that she wanted to look good that day. I don't think I did anything wrong as I stopped her from ruining his wedding for him. So, am I the asshole? What a baby! How fragile is his ego?